I'm interested in the buildings and the history. I suppose one of my many faults is that if I go to see something, I just want everybody else to bugger off. I just want them.
It's so selfish, aren't you?
Yeah, yes. I find it much more compelling to be in a place when there's nobody else there. I find I can take in a lot more with my senses. Sometimes it's almost better than looking. So if I look, I've got an image of it. If I close my eyes, I've still got that image of it. But other things happen. And I can read other things with my eyes closed to a great degree. And it might not be accurate to the shape of the place, but it's the atmosphere of the place, and it's the feeling, the sensations, or whatever it is. People call it different things, vibes, in the airwaves, and how the air moves around. There are different ways of reading different situations, and I find that really is very good for me, and it helps me to see more than just a solid building. I get a different sense of different things. I don't know whether it's. No, I'm not even going to say that, but I think I've always done it. And as a kid, sometimes I would go to places and I'd just sit somewhere with my eyes closed. And my ears are kind of reading what's going on, the rustling behind me, birds singing, or where that draft's coming from, or a leaf skidding along the ground. And you can kind of read things in lots of different ways. So I tend to do that. So these images and so on were the hard copy of where I was. But the atmospheres and so on, a lot of it was kind of audio, or the scent, the smell, the greenery, or the oil from a factory, or whatever it's going to be, or the sound of running water, or something blowing in the wind. And they add the texture to the image as well. I think you might remember I'm reading a book, I've put it down for the time being, reading something else. When the author is talking about dogs, it's about animal senses. From fleas to bats to dogs to elephants to the way they see the world, and what the world means to them, and how they sense the world or feel the world or smell the world. And with dogs, they've got this slit on the side of their nose, which means that they can breathe out and breathe in almost at the same time. This guy talks to lots of different scientists and analysts and animal experts and so on to build these pictures of all of those experiences to put together what is the most likely sensory perception of each of these animals. It's absolutely fascinating. But the dog can smell something around a corner and it will know the size and shape of the animal that's there simply from smell. So presumably different breeds have different kind of textures and so on, and depending on the strength of the smell, which way the wind's blowing, and it's absolutely fascinating. So they see the world, whether it creates images in their mind or a feeling rather than an image or something, and they don't see colour in the same way that we do. So their world in the dog's mind is compiled completely differently. And I think there's a temptation for humans to possibly assume that other animals see things the way that we do. And of course they don't. Some animals, insects or whatever, don't see us as humans. Their awareness is just a shape, perhaps, or something which is coming towards them and then disappears again. They don't see us as tall, dark, short, walking things. We're just part of the landscape.
Yeah.
What were you talking about?
I don't know. I think you have actually a lot of senses.
Did you say I'm senseless?
Not sensors.
Sensibles. I don't know what that comes from. And I'm not trying to say that I've got any particular kind of monopoly on sensing things in a certain way. It's just the way I've always done things. As a kid, I didn't like dangling upside down in a tree.
I can imagine.
Thank you. Just listening to the world. One of the first things I would do, wherever I was get up somewhere high and have a look around, get the landscape. I don't know what the impulse is, but get up high, get to the highest point, have a look around. Maybe it's some sort of ancient survival technique.
Did you climb up the trees and?
No. I used to climb up trees, but I still do occasionally. I was always in a tree as a kid. I was either climbing up or falling out of it. Particularly in the back garden to our house, we had several apple trees, plum trees, pear tree. And I used to climb up into the apple tree and hang by the branch under my knees and hang down upside down.
Did you?
And look at the world upside down and see how long I could stay up there. And sometimes people would come out into the garden and wouldn't realise I was there. I thought if they look up, they're going to freak out to see me dangling upside down from a tree.
Yeah. How old were you?
About 40.
20?
No, oh crikey, I don't know. Again, I remember doing it from quite early on, so maybe about sort of 5 or 6 years old. But then when I was older, probably about 12, 10 or 12, getting up higher in the tree and doing the same thing.
Dangling.
Just dangling. I can't quite remember how I managed to do it, because if you get up high and you sit on a branch, there's always a danger if you then swing yourself backwards, so you're going to come unhooked and drop down. So I think I seem to recall I get up high and then I get one leg crooked over the branch like that, and then swing the other one over and gradually kind of lower myself down. And it's quite a strange feeling when all the blood's rushing up to your head. But get sort of slightly hypnotised by the world being the other way up. And in fact, I used to lie like that on the sofa in our sitting room, on my back with my feet up over the back of the sofa and my head dangling down.
Yeah.
So it's the same sort of thing, but one's closer to the ground than the other. It was more I just want to go for a walk. And it's different doing it with walking with somebody, because in a sense there's a bit of a responsibility. Even if you decide you're doing your own thing, you're conscious of somebody else. So it's not so much that that's a distraction, which of course it is, because you're with somebody, you can't help it. Another human being nearby, you're aware of it. But you're not holding anybody else up. They're not waiting for you to do something, so there's not that sort of the push or urgency to sort of get something done quickly. You can look at something, walk past it, you can come back on the other pavement, on the other side of the street, and look at it again. And you can take a couple of shots and think, it's not right, the light's wrong. And you can keep coming back to that, or you can pass it several times. Oh, that's really nice, the way the sun's glinting off that ornament in the front garden. So being able to do it by yourself, you can enjoy the mysteriousness of being somewhere that you don't know and it doesn't know you. So you're seeing it for the first time, maybe 2 or 3 times over 2 or 3 days. One of the lovely things is I didn't feel the need to explain myself of where I'd been, and just allow it to kind of settle into my mind, into my being. I remember telling you, I must write it out actually, about going to Cornwall when I was 14. Because that was absolutely, that was a real eye-opener for me, an ear-opener. My senses suddenly opened up like that, and completely different awareness of the world.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Are you sure?
I think I'm quite sure. Okay then, see you next time.
Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you. It's a lovely,
Bye-bye.
It's a lovely cafe you have here.
Thank you. Yeah, you made it by yourself though. Okay, then see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Arigato.